Since Generation 6, Pokemon has introduced battle mechanics that would play into the competitive scene for Pokemon, and has kept going with each new game. We've had Mega Evolution, Z-moves, Dynamaxing, and now Terastillization. Since Terastillization is the newest gimmick for Generation 9, I thought it would be fun to go back through each gimmick and see what made them good. And seeing at the time of this video that Scarlet and Violet hasn't dropped, we haven't played with Terastillization yet, so we really can't give our actual thoughts and opinions, so there will be a follow-up video after the game's out. So let's start with Mega Evolution. Now, what is Mega Evolution? Mega Evolution required you to have a Mega Ring and Mega Stone for the 46 Pokemon who could Mega Evolve. Now, Mega Evolution would last the whole battle. Mega Evolution would raise some, not all, of your Pokemon stats. Consider it as a buff, if you will. Let's look at Charizard versus its Mega counterpart. Notice how Charizard's HP and speed doesn't change while Mega Evolve. Other stats, depending on which one you used, will, which goes for all other Megas as well. Now, some Megas honestly were just plain out trash, and it makes you think, what was even the point of that Mega existing? Now, sadly, only a handful of Megas were actually viable for competitors. One Mega that sat at the top for VGC at the time was Mega Rayquaza. It was unbelievably busted. Do you see these stats? Sadly, if you didn't use this Mega or one of the better Mega Pokemon, you were just at a bad disadvantage, which is one of the bad things about this. Now, one of the best things about Mega Evolution was the fact that because of the limited good Megas, you could properly plan around that meta. Now, overall, I think Mega Evolution was a good start for bringing battle mechanics to the competitive scene at the time, but it's just not the best overall. I know so many people are going crazy because of that comment, and that's perfectly okay. If you think differently, let me know in the comment section, long as it's respectful. If it's crazy out the window, I will delete it. Now, let's move on to what I think is the worst gimmick, Z-moves. Z-moves were introduced as the gimmick mechanic in Generation 7 for Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon. Now, to use Z-moves, you would give a Z-crystal to a Pokemon and it would use that item slot. How Z-moves worked it would give an attacking move a higher base attack power, but no secondary effects. An example would be turning a regular move Fly into a 175 base power Supersonic Strike. There were also status Z moves that would also raise stats for Pokemon in Sun and Moon, but lastly, it only lasts for one turn, so you would have to make that Z move count. But honestly, what is not bad about Z moves? The animations were cringeworthy. Depending on the Z move, it felt like you were watching a Marvel movie. But to be fair, some of the things Z-moves did were okay. Like, you could tempt your opponent to think they have the advantage. Z-moves added versatility, making some Pokemon flexible at times. But the biggest things to me about Z-moves was that it was just a one-time use. Granted, it made it a tad bit more strategic, but if you don't get the most out of your Z-move by knocking their Z-move Pokemon out or winning the game, it was really all in vain. Now to my favorite gimmick of all time, Dynamaxing. Oh my gosh, I could write a book on this. Not really, but I could talk on this for a minute. I think Pokemon did a fabulous job with Dynamaxing. Dynamaxing is so much more than just your Pokemon getting bigger in a competitive sense. You Dynamax once per battle, but it lasts for 3 turns. So depending on who you battle with, those 3 turns could feel like forever. And you can also stall out someone's Dynamax, which is one of my favorite strats. Dynamaxing a Pokemon helps increase your Pokemon's HP, but the other stats don't change at all. Also, what makes this superior to previous mechanics is that your Pokemon doesn't lose its item slot, which optimizes for strategy. One thing I love about Dynamaxing is giving Dynamax moves secondary effects. The effects can help your Pokemon as well as hinder your opponent. Oh my gosh, it's such a great mechanic. From being able to max Airstream and raise your speed, or use Max Knuckle to boost your attack, Max Strike lowering your opponent's speed, this gimmick made any Pokemon viable and playable on your team. Now, certain Pokemon can get Gigantamax and coming with their own signature move and secondary effects, like G-Max Charizard with G-Max Wildfire, doing chip damage every 4 turns. Also, what added a good secondary effect to Dynamax is Dynamax G-Max Pokemon were immune to a lot. Like weight-based moves like Heavy Slam and Low Kick did nothing, and you also didn't get flinched with Fake Out. So Dynamax Pokemon were pretty good, but I think it's really balanced in my opinion. Now let's talk on Terastillization. We'll be here for a minute. Now, if you haven't heard what Terastillization is, it's where your Pokemon will go under a transformation that lets Pokemon change into its Tera type. I like to think of it as if hidden power and adaptability had a baby, and it would be Terastillization. Now, all Pokemon are able to use all 18 Tera typings in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. While Terastillized, Pokemon receive a boost to moves that match the Tera type, and receive an additional boost if the Tera type and the move used both match one of the Pokemon's original types. Your Pokemon can only have one Tera typing at a time, and dual type Pokemon become one typing upon Terastillization. Now, I think from a competitive standpoint, this can be really good offensively as just as much as it can defensively, but from what we know, like Dynamaxing, you won't lose your item slot, so you can hold an item while Terastillizing. But I don't think it has any secondary effects, which after using your Tera Blast, it doesn't do anything extra. Now, as far as dealing damage while your Pokemon is in its Tera form, Ruzaki on Twitter did some percentages from a recent trailer and found that Terastillization might actually be a problem. Looks like after Terastillizing into the type you already are might do triple the base damage, which is ridiculous. In the next image, we see Drifloon from the trailer fighting the Titan Cloth. And Drifloon first used Icy Wind doing 30% damage, and then Tera typed into Grass and did over 60% damage with Tera Blast. Now, we don't know the damage that Tera Blast does, but according to Cerebi, it's physical or special depending on the stat of the Pokemon who uses it. So we know Drifloon is more of a special attacker, but again, in the trailer, when it used Icy Wind, it only did 30%, but then when it Tera typed into Tera Grass and did over 60%, that might tell us that this Drifloon specifically is more of a physical than special attacker. So, which means its Tera Blast was physical. Now, this gets us a little deeper into Claw's stats. We know it's a rock type, so its defense should be really good, but then seeing this means its defense could be bad, or Tera Blasting is just really, really strong. So there is such a possible remarkable skill level for Terastillization and competitive, but I think that comes with making the right predictions. Like for example, if I take Pikachu out and I'm facing a ground type Pokemon, 9 times out of 10, that ground type Pokemon is going to use a ground type move. And with the right prediction, you can Tera type your Pikachu into flying, and now you don't get hit by ground moves. Tyranitar. Now, originally it's Dark and Rock, but in the trailer it Tera typed into Ghost, making it immune to fighting. Understanding what's going to be good and what can be broken in this game will truly depend on how this gimmick turns out. Overall, I have the highest expectations for Terastillization in Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet. Well, that's it for this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. What is your favorite gimmick of all time? Is it Mega Evolution? Is it Z moves? What about Dynamaxing? Or do you think it could be Terastillization? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and make sure you guys leave a like, subscribe, and comment if you haven't already. Also, if you're still here at the end of this video, I want to say we're so close to 2,500 subs on the channel. I truly appreciate your support and all that you do, especially my channel members. But if you wouldn't mind, please subscribe to not only make me feel good, but also to grow our community. If we hit 2,500 subs before October 25th, I'll be doing a 25-hour stream to celebrate. So it would really mean a lot. But thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.